Welcome to Crestron Avia. One of the biggest time-saving features of the Avia DSP is the ability to export objects directly to VT Pro and simple windows. Sliders, presets, and VU indicators can be exported to a touchscreen project with very little programming work. In the past, integrating a DSP with simple windows and VT Pro required significant programming, both in terms of panel design, along with complicated programming and data-intensive communication between all three devices. Integration of a Crestron DSP with simple windows and VT Pro is much simpler. Objects can be exported from the DSP to the panel file. The processor will create a direct communication path between the panel and the DSP. The data doesn't pass through the processor. Multiple VU meters can be on the panel showing real-time feedback from the DSP with no effect to the processor. We will now cover the steps for correct implementation. Let's start in the Avia tool. We need to choose which objects the customer needs on the user interface. We have a DSP program started. You can see two stereo input strips for sources along with a microphone input, and there are a few presets for switching sources. First, we will need to switch to the UI export page, which is this button in the navigation bar. The palette on the left is where we will collect the objects to export. First, we will open the objects with the data points we would like on the touch panel. Note that items inside objects along with the objects in the matrix can be selected. To select objects, control-click the objects. They will have a bright white outline around what has been selected. I've selected the VU meter for the mic input so the client can confirm the mic is picking up signal. With the control key still held, click and drag one of the objects over to the palette area. We are now prompted with the friendly names for these controls. These will show up above the objects when they are placed on the touch panel project. Generally, we will only label buttons, as labels on all objects get rather cluttered. Note that these labels can be changed or hidden within VT Pro. The user would also like access to some presets from the touch panel. Click the presets below the navigation window. These objects are selected the same way. Control-click and drag into the palette. Next, we will move to the File menu and select Save UI Export. Save the file somewhere logical for retrieval in VT Pro. Switch over to VT Pro E. Start or open a project. Right-click on the project name in the project view and select Import Devices. Browse for the file we just saved. And open. A dialog window will open prompting for selection of a device number or the DSP. This informs the program which DSP to connect to for this group of panel controls. If there is more than one DSP in your system, specify a different number for objects from a different DSP. Notice in the Smart Graphics control browser, there is a new folder with the DSP objects. Open the folder to reveal all the objects that were exported from the Avia tool. Simply drag the objects to the page or pages and arrange to your liking. These are similar to smart objects, however, all of the connection information is built in, so setting of the joins is not necessary. Note that just like any of the other objects in VT Pro, various controls are available for each object in the property window. Here you can see that I'm changing the range available for the control. Make any adjustments to confirm your design. Save and compile. We are done in VT Pro for now. Note that if you try to use this page on a panel without completing the few steps in simple windows, the objects will all show up on the panel, but they will be grayed out and disabled. This is built-in logic to show that the panel isn't connected to the DSP. Now we move into simple windows to complete the programming. I have already added the touch panel and DSP to the project. So in Programming View, open the slot with the touch panel in it. Right-click on the touch panel and select Manage GUI Extenders. Browse for the SGD file created by VT Pro E when the panel was created, and select Commit Changes. Expand the touch panel symbol to reveal the extender for the DSP. Open to reveal the signal names have already been completed and connected. Find the new symbol in the logic folder that was also added automatically and connected to the device extender on the touch panel. This module creates the connection between the DSP and the touch panel when the program starts. There are only 3 signals that need to be added to the symbol and connected to complete the programming. Expand the DSP equipment symbol to reveal the subslots associated with the specific DSP. We need to open the first 2, the Ethernet Offline Manager and the System slot. Complete the Ethernet Offline Manager. The input signal can be commented out. Create a logic signal name for the offline signal and drag it to the DSP is offline input signal on the routing module. The other 2 signals that are connected to the routing module are CRPC and CRPC_F. They are on the system symbol of the DSP. CRPC is a messaging protocol used by Crestron to efficiently communicate large amounts of data between devices. Save, compile, and load the simple project to the processor. This is the view of the X panel. You can see that the graphics are all grayed out, indicating the lack of connection. Correcting the IP table, the devices will start communicating and the touch panel objects will be active. The customer has asked for a few changes to what is on the touch panel. This is relatively simple with the Avia software and VT Pro E. Back to the Avia software. We navigate back to the UI export page. If you have closed the project, you will need to reopen the UI export file. I will add another control point and remove one preset and save the UI export file. Heading back to VT Pro E, we need to import devices again by right-clicking on the project name and selecting the file. The Add DSP window will open again. Note that 2 choices are available: Add file as a new DSP and append information to existing. Since we are just updating the controls, we will select Append. Notice that the preset that we removed is now red. This is indicating the object isn't connected to the DSP. Now I will add additional control points back in. Save, compile, and run. That's it. No changes are necessary to the simple Windows program. Since not all controls for the DSP will be on the user interface, we need to provide controls for the DSP from within simple Windows also. There are 2 ways to accomplish this based on what functions we are looking for in the DSP. The first option for controlling items from simple Windows is to utilize the existing slots under the DSP object. Depending on the DSP model, various slots will be available. The analog input, output, auxiliary input/output, and logic out will always be visible. Some DSPs will also have Dante control slots. Note that the system slots contain a serial signal input for preset recall. Remember that the serial string is case sensitive, so it must match exactly what was entered in the DSP software. The second option for controlling items from simple windows involves using the Symbol Export option in the Avia tool. Symbol Export is adjacent to the UI Export tab in the navigation bar. This works in much the same way as UI Export in that you select what objects you want control of in Symbol. Control-click the objects and control-click drag the selected objects to the palette area on the left. Now, instead of saving a UI export file, you save symbols. Note that once you save, there is a handy information line above the object showing exactly where you saved the file on the computer. We move back over to Symbol Windows to import the symbols, but this time, we right-click on the DSP symbol and select Import DSP Custom Symbol. Immediately, you will notice a new item below the last slot in the DSP. Open up and view the controls. Pressing F1 on the symbol will provide information on the parameters to utilize when programming the symbol. For example, the valid analog values for the signals. Also note that modifying the symbol is very similar to how the GUI export was modified. Make the changes in the Avia software, save the file, and re-import the file in Simple Windows. All done. The next video will cover some of the more advanced features in the Avia software tool. Thank you for watching.